He's no stranger to Indian politics, and Charlie Soap is making a campaign stop right here. Charlie, welcome. Good to have you, buddy.
Sam, good to see you again. It's always good to see you.
You're running for chief of the Cherokee Nation, principal chief. What in the world made you want to get involved in politics, my friend?
Well, it's a long story, but I'll cut it down real short. I had people ask me before, and in the last couple of years, people have really tried to get me to run, and because we were so busy with the movie, I had obligations to meet, and so I had to finish that. And finally, after many people asked me, and the older people were asking me, and then when the younger people started asking me, I said, there must be something that I don't see that so many people are asking me. So I decided I would throw my hat in the ring, and after I made that decision, Sam, it was just a calming experience for me that I thought I'd done the right thing, you know.
In all the years I've known you, I've never known you to make a rash decision. You always think things through, it seems like. And this has to be one of those things. You must have really waited for a while.
It did. It took some time. I didn't jump into it, and there were some experiences I went through, and to also looked at what I've accomplished, what I've done in the past, running programs like Oklahoma Area Program Director for Christian Children's Fund, and then also the Boys and Girls Club, you know, and then just being with Wilma, working with Cherokee Nation, traveling around the world, doing photography, meeting some of the top leaders in the country, whether it be foreign countries like Africa, other parts of the world, and sitting down with the people and talking to them and talk about world problems or local community problems, and being able to carry on conversation, and at times even solutions for the group of people I was with, and people saying, Charlie, how do you know all this stuff? And I said, because that's the kind of work I do for our people, and apply those situations to those. And in that times I'd ask, can you be involved in our discussions, in our groups, in our board? I said, sure, you know. And so after thinking about all that, and then what I've done locally in our communities, and seeing some of the leadership that was in place before, or is now in place, and being with Wilma, we had the same sort of philosophies that we had about life and about communities. And so I said, I can do this.
You know, should you win the election, this is going to be unprecedented. A husband and wife that both serve as chief of the Cherokee. I mean, that's got to be on your mind as well.
You know, I don't really think about that, Sam. I just think about the job that has to be done, and also Wilma was a great partner, and we formed a partnership that was just never having a partner. It's hard to explain, but after years have passed since she's gone, I can say I learned a lot from her and the philosophy that we had, and so that part of it, it's just doing a job, what's best for the people.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the needs of the people. What do you see as the #1 priority? What needs to be accomplished by the chief?
There's several things that I would like to see. As I've traveled in the communities, there's elders that need help with housing. Many have septic problems, and which is a health hazard to them and the families, and then also some of them just have basic needs like electrical plug-ins, ramps for handicapped or elderly ramps, and those are just the basic needs that there's a lot of need out there. And also the other big thing is health care. Many complaints or concerns are coming from the elders due to health and the waiting time. And also the reasons I don't know is, and I will look into it, is why does it take so long to get health care treatment for someone that goes into the clinics or the hospitals? And so I know there's a solution for it, and we definitely can find what the solution is. been known to be a problem solver in the communities, and so those types of things that I know with working with the staff, administration, we can solve those problems for the people.
You know, years ago, I worked with the original Katuhwa Society closely, and
Right.
you know about it, and so did
Absolutely.
Wilma knew about it at the
Yeah.
time. One of the things they taught me was members of the original Katuhwa Society had a philosophy in terms of old folk or elders or the sick or the needy. The philosophy is very simple. They didn't beat the drum for the dollar. They would instead take care of their own, and then they taught others to do the same. Is that philosophy still out there?
Absolutely. It's still there, yeah. Matter of fact, that's what we've been successful in, meaning the projects that Wilma and I did or the Cherokee Nation has done in the past to degree where people with the Gadugi concept, Gadugi philosophy, the Gadi dat stella, skina ostneta, ni se osti da stella. Let's help one another. Let's help this family. Let's do good for the people. It's still there. It's just not. Sam, if you go out in the communities, you see it. You see it's still there. Even a fundraiser for a person that may need to pay the bills for hospital, veterans needing help. It's there. You see people coming, attending these fundraising events for pie suppers or singing and selling food. I've been to several of them. I've always attended those types of events, and so.
They're important, aren't they?
They really are.
It seems to me like we've heard a lot over the last few years about economic development coming out of the tribe. Is the unemployment rate high, and if so, what can be done to fix it?
I think the unemployment rate is pretty high, especially when you go out in the communities. You see so many people saying, I need a job, Charlie, I need a job. And I think one of the things that we can do, even though gaming has raised such revenues, I think the jobs are far away from the communities where there's a group of a large percentage of the Cherokees that need jobs. It's too far for them to travel. They have a lot of skills, this and that, but I think what we need to do is really would be strengthen the businesses. Need a business center that can strengthen businesses in their local area. So when those businesses do well, then they can expand, creating jobs to other people. Just like yesterday, I was talking to a guy, and he's got a lawn mowing service, and this is in a rural area. He said, I mow lawns, Charlie. He said, but he said, I got so many now, I can't do them. So now I've had to hire 4 or 5 more people to do this. He said, I'm just keep going out further. And I said, that's a good way to really create jobs in a rural community. I mean, he would think about making money off mowing the lawns, but you know, you see Tulsa or Oklahoma City, they have these landscaping businesses, and that makes good money, but they create jobs. But those smaller scale jobs like that, and really helping the small business people to expand their jobs, I think would be one of the ways, because you know, sometimes these rural areas don't have the infrastructures to really bring in big jobs and stuff, but that doesn't mean we can't work towards that.
You know, you mentioned gaming, and I got to tell you, I couldn't win a down payment on a free lunch, man, but I am impressed by what's happened with Indian gaming on Cherokee land.
Yes, it's very impressive. It's very lucrative business, and it has helped the economy in Oklahoma, but for somehow it's not reaching the people in the rural communities that really need help. And that's where my heart is in the communities. I'm really for building up the communities to build up our nation. You know, you can build buildings and this and that, but is it really strengthen the nation? Is it really strengthen the people? And I think Wilma and I always talked about, in order to build our Cherokee Nation, our nation, you have to build from the ground up. You have to build the communities. You have to have good health, good education, and all that comes together.
I was going to mention education has to be a priority with you.
Absolutely. Education is very important, yeah. So whether it be the VOTEC or college, universities is great, but there's other ways, and that I think that we really need to educate people.
We're about out of time, but I do want to mention one other thing to you, Charlie, before we move on. How important is it for you to be able to embrace education, economic development, and still hold on to the heritage and the old ways.
It's not hard. I hear this, you don't think, it's not hard if you're true Cherokee, brought up that way, your values, your love for people, and still education is important, and the values, the language, it's all there. It's who we are, and that's how we need to retain, and there's ways to do it. There's so many expertise in the communities. We talk about language, saving language. There's a lot of Cherokee speakers out there, older people, and why not use them? Why not set up a program in these rural communities to bring the young people in it, teach them to talk Cherokee, the language, but also you can pass down the culture from the elders. And so there's so many ways you can do that.
That's important. Charlie, thank you.
Thank you,
for taking
Sam.
time, and best of luck.
Thank you very much.
All right, my friend.
All right.
Up next, an invitation from the city of Bartlesville. That's next on Green Country Perspectives.